Well, maybe some of you guys heard the news or living with the news or just know about it. But anyway, so Hangouts on Air has been shut down. And now we have to find an alternate way to get these little podcast style videos out there because there's not a lot of easy ways to talk to multiple people or talk with multiple people all at once. So we're going to give this a shot, and I need to disable the sound on this other video.
Yeah, because I'm getting feedback.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to get this going, see how things work with StreamYard. There's a logo somewhere on the screen. I think it's on the upper right, maybe.
Yeah.
So we'll see how things work out and talk about AEW's Fight for the Fallen. So we'll kick off with the what do you call it? The buy-in, the pre-match, pre-main event card, or whatever you want to call that. So first up, we had Sonny Kiss versus Peter Avalon. Derek, what do you have to say about that?
Still not sold on the library gig. Now I guess again it seems like there's two people doing that. Not a fan of it. Maybe they'll go somewhere with it. Now Sonny Kiss, never heard of him, but I thought it was all right. It wasn't a highlight match for me, but I thought it was a decent one just to get the ball rolling and give the male librarian a little bit of time to shows what he has, and then Sonny Kiss see what he had to offer.
No, I just noticed there's a bit of lag here, but that's probably because the site is one thing and then YouTube's another. But got a comment in there that Gunplay has also never heard of him, but he doesn't watch wrestling, so I get it.
Well, there might be a few that you've not heard of.
Yeah, but so I was watching it, and I mean, the guy seems like Sonny Kiss. He seemed like an athletic dude, so he's got that going for himself. But he also seemed like he was like really trying to play to the crowd, and it was almost to an extent like annoying,
Yeah.
Dial that back and just kind of get by on being good at this, you'll probably be okay. And it seems like the crowd is kind of split on that what do you call it, the librarian thing.
Yeah.
But later when he ran out, the librarian ran out to like help break up a fight or something, you would hear like the shh in the crowd. So there were a lot of people that were for him, a lot of people were like, nah. But like you said, it's early, so we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, well, they got until October to get things straightened out.
But really, that's about it for that match, in my opinion, because it was just the start one. Like I said, it was fine, but nothing memorable. But a good start for the night, though. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And then it was after that was what B. Presley and B. Priestley and Rico versus Britt Baker and Rico.
Yeah,
so that one was better than I expected it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I expected low. It's not that I have anything against the people that were in it. It's just that since I didn't really know what to expect, I didn't expect much.
Yeah. Yeah, understandable. I didn't know anything about any of them. Like I've seen Britt before, and I've seen Riho in that last show.
Right.
I'm still kind of not impressed with Riho. Like, maybe they'll do something with that. Like, clearly they want to do something with her. You can see that she's getting all these opportunities. I really think B and Britt right now, in my opinion, I think they're probably like the two top talent for like the women's division. I think they might have to do a little bit more of the carrying.
Yeah, I can see that.
And with Shoko, again, not much known about her going into it, but I like the whole me, I'm a gimmick guy. I love Luchasaurus and all that. So with her being like the 4-foot kaiju with monster thing, I thought that was entertaining.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I one of the things that seemed a little off in the match was early on. I forget who it was, but they threw Britt into like the turnbuckle corner thing, and it looked like she took it like in the worst way possible, like into the turnbuckle. And then from there, it was just like she seemed like a mess, right? Because like immediately after that, she went to go tag out, and she ran to the wrong corner. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then she like had to run back across the ring, you know. And then she there were some spots in there where it seemed like the moves didn't work out quite right.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I don't know what's going on here, but it seems like it's not her best showing. But I feel like I've seen her before, and I was fine with it.
Yeah.
But overall, for the match though, I liked the heel. Well, I don't know if it was a heel team or what, but the B team. Like yeah, I liked them overall more than their opponents.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping, and from what they said, I believe they signed both of them. So I'm curious to see where they go with that. If it's going to be, you know, tag team things, or if it's going to be singles. But we'll see. It's going to have to take some time. I mean, because I think right now it feels like they're doing a lot of tag matches, and they said that they want to have like a really good tag division.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think that it's probably just the easiest way to get multiple people out there, so you at least recognize them when these like weekly shows start.
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes sense too. And if you look at the official roster right now, like the women's division, it's not really, they don't have enough people on there, in my opinion, to have an actual women's tag division or anything.
Okay.
And I think you're right in the fact of, you know, they're just trying to get as many people out there as possible at the moment, to put, you know, names with faces and everything. And then probably the women's tag division. I think that'll come like later on down the road, maybe towards like the end of the year or beginning of next year.
Yeah, because I'm sure they can build it up if they really want to. But you know, it's probably all right. Let's roll out the roster instead of just pulling a WCW and buying up everybody. For them. But yeah, it'll be interesting. And then speaking of, the next match was interesting because it had Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin, and Joey Janela, which are three of like the hardcore guys on one side, and then you had like MJF, Sammy Guevara, and Shawn Spears on the other side, which is just, you know, your typical guys. So
yeah, well, to me it seemed like those were more like the Hill guys as well.
Yeah, they were because like the hardcore guys are just like, hey, we just do this stuff when we have the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys over here, it was like they're really just set out to, you know, prove a point, and that being like going against the faces of the promotion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because with Shawn Spears, well, Sammy Guevara he's not quite a bad guy, but unless I missed something, he may have been a little upset. I don't know.
Mm.
But MJF and Shawn Spears for sure. But it just seemed like a weird grouping to me, you know, the way they had that split. But it was still entertaining though.
Yeah, I was entertained throughout pretty much the whole match. I was actually surprised, given you know with Darby Allin, Joe, and all of them, that we didn't see a lot of you know, more crazy aspects of wrestling.
Yeah.
But I felt like I think they realized what kind of match they were in and they didn't think they had to push the card at all.
Right.
So it was interesting to see that they can wrestle without having to make a car wreck.
Right, exactly, and that's the thing, because like you don't always need to be doing like the hardcore thing, because eventually people will think, oh, like is this all they're good for? Is like the feet on the thumbtacks and whatever. So they bust that out, and then it's cool. You know what I mean? Because when you look at these guys, they don't always look like much up front, because you're so used to seeing like well, they're clearly not like the luchador because they don't have that look, or they're not the big guys, they don't have that look. But like, what are they? You know?
Yeah.
So I was pretty entertained with it all in all, and I don't know how much you've seen of like after the show things, but the next show is gonna have Jimmy Havoc versus Darby Allin versus Joey Janela, and depending on how they do the rules for that could be a good one.
Yeah. Another after the lights go off, come back on type thing.
Yeah, because when did they have that? Was that the last one they had the unsanctioned match?
Yeah, it was the one right before Fight for the Fallen.
Moxley and Omega? No. who was it? Moxley and somebody.
Moxley and Janela.
Yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, so we'll see what they do. I'm definitely curious. And now that kind of like what we had also talked about last time was what was going to happen between Cody and Spears and Darby, because it became this three-way thing. It's like it can go either way. You know, you can take any two of those people and go off on your tangent with it. But I saw later that Darby made like a Twitter post or something going more so against Spears because he was the one that ruined his moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's you know, you bring up another thing with the Twitter post. It's, you know, I enjoy the fact that, you know, they're still able to build storylines even though they don't have a weekly program. Like, you can see why certain matches are playing out the way they are, why they're being made. You know, you just using social media, which is ended up becoming like a big factor in storytelling.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. I mean, because what is it? It's August, so yeah, so in 2 months, I don't know the exact date, but in October is when they start. So, and I'm looking forward to going to one of these shows, or maybe more than one when I get to Virginia, because it's only be like 2.5, 3 hours away. You know?
Yeah.
So why not, right?
Right. We'll just have to be able to get in there and get the tickets in time. Like, I tried to buy, you know, the Chicago show, and, you know, 15 minutes in, I never even had a chance.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I mean, I get all these pre-sale things from a lot of areas because, you know, I buy tickets to all kinds of events. So hopefully that works out in my favor, but we'll see. So let's see, what was it after that? Brandy versus Allie. So that one,
yeah. We always get one show. It seems like there's one show that's just kind of like, well, it was there. It wasn't the worst thing, but
yeah.
I don't know. There wasn't much to say about it. It wasn't a great show.
I will say though, like, as far as like the competition, like this women's match was better than the last few women's matches I've seen. So they have that, right?
Yeah.
Because actually, I just watched an Extreme Rules match last night, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus Bayley, and I was like, this is, you know. So I like the little backstory of like, okay, Brandy doesn't think she's good enough to wrestle or whatever, but she like fought through it and she went out there. She had a match which was actually pretty solid considering that she doesn't wrestle often and was, I guess, according to most people, never good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they brought in like the Kongs at the end. So we'll see what they do, because I was looking up some stuff online, and I guess they've had their battles back and forth over the years, kind of like I don't know, like Cactus Jack Terry Funk sort of thing, where it's just been years of them in different promotions and different places, just kind of having those battles, you know?
Yeah, I didn't know who Aja Kong was, and then she come walking in, and I was like, okay, you know, this is a good way to set up, you know, the two Titan type you know, wrestlers.
Right.
And then I did end up looking up some of Aja's stuff, and, you know, I'd seen Awesome Kong, you know, with her with WWE Impact and all that, so I know what she's capable of. The Aja, I've not seen her, I never heard of her. Looked her up. Like, okay, I can see this being, you know, a decent storyline to play out.
Yeah. And even if it's not a decent storyline, it looks like it should at least be entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, you know, like you always want to have like the big person matches. I don't know, it's just cool sometimes. But yeah, so again, we're gonna have to wait and see how this plays out. And they've got, I guess, because Fight for the Fall, I mean, what you call it? All Out is this month. I think like the last week of the month.
Yeah, August 31st.
And then I don't know if they have a show next month. I would assume that they do, but I haven't been following as closely as I want to. So hopefully they have one more to kind of just get the ball rolling into like the the weekly shows before that actually starts. But
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, I've not heard anything about anything being announced. But if I do, I'll be, definitely be telling you.
yeah, appreciate that. So after that, we have the Dark Order, which was Evil Uno and Stu Grayson versus Angelico and Jack Evans versus your team, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus with Marco Stunt. So that match was all over the place, but like in a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, because I've seen some things where it's like, man, this is a mess. This is falling apart before my eyes. This was like, you never knew who was coming from where. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you said, like Luchasaurus, he is, for a big dude, he can move.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that from him, and then he got in there and he started, doing all that, the stuff you would see. Well, you've seen who was it, Angelico and Jack, them flying all over the place and doing flips and stuff, and then next thing you know, you got Luchasaurus doing his backflips and everything. So that caught me off guard. Didn't see that, and for a bigger guy, seeing that kind of agility and dexterity is still pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was. Then the other guys, I mean, you see, like I said, like Angelico and Jack Evans, you know what they bring to the table as soon as they come out, and they're just flipping all over the ring before the match even starts.
Yeah, those guys are definitely jacked up on Monster and SpongeBob. You got the green and black.
And because I had seen Jack Evans a couple times in TNA, like in the early 2000s, and I want to say I've seen him wrestle a couple times, just live at WrestleCons or what's the other thing that, not WrestleCon, but I mean at that, and then there's something else like in Evolve shows possibly. But yeah, so they're WWN shows. That's what it was. So pretty cool guy. He's been around for a while. Very entertaining. And then the Dark Order, when they first debuted them, when they just kind of like lights came on at whatever show that was, and like they had all the little minion dudes in the ring.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going, but we'll see. And
yeah, I'm still not sold on those guys. I'll say that. That match was good. I would say if there's anything that stood out that didn't have to be there, I would say it'd be them. They weren't awful or anything, but I just feel like the other two tag teams were just better.
Yeah, there was like when they won the match though, I forget what it was. It was something like a flipping neck breaker or stunner or something. That looked painful from every angle. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, so they definitely won that match. But but I feel like once they have some more, like I feel like they're going to be a pretty good piece of like the tag team division though, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, because all of those guys were really couldn't say anything bad about any of them.
Yeah, I think my thing with them is I don't know a lot about them. I've not got to see a lot of them. And with Angelico and Jack, it's easy for those two guys to kind of steal a show just because they're high flyers. And then I'm already biased towards Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, so I think I just need some warming up to the Dark Order and see what they got.
Yeah, and one thing I had written down here in the notes was, I don't know if you remember the oddities, like the thing that like they had the giant Kurgan and Golga and the Insane Clown Posse was there for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, he reminded me of Golga because he's just like big dude and had like that little leather mask. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw him. I mean, obviously it wasn't him because I believe that dude passed away years ago. But so yeah, moving on from there though, what we have next? Adam Page and Kip Sabian. So I remember the name Kip Sabian more than I remember the person, because I guess it's just one of those names that kind of stands out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like once you've heard it. But it was pretty solid, like you were saying. So if you want to kick that off, your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought so you clearly have great storytelling in that. I mean, it's been a while back that you had Adam Page. He had his match against I forget his name, but he was supposed to be at one of the pay-per-views. it was Neville in WWE. I forget what his name is now.
PAC.
Yeah. So he had his match with him, and then that's when they started doing the whole like knee thing. You know, they're still carrying all that stuff over, and him trying to, you know, basically get to that fight, you know, for the championship. And they're telling that story of like a struggle going on through it and overcoming and persevering, things like that. So I enjoyed that. The match was really good pacing. It wasn't too fast and all, you know, the whole thing didn't just feel like it was rushed. I don't think they had to. I feel like they didn't have to put in like 1,000. I'm online doing a show, so that was unexpected. That's my brother. Yeah,
That's the shoe guy.
yeah. He can hear you, so say hi to him.
What's up, shoe guy?
But anyways, I ended up doing, or what was I talking about? Oh yeah, pacing. I don't feel like anything needed to be rushed. The moves, they were all put back to back, slammed together.
Right. It built up, like, you know, it had like a little build up, and then it got into full motion and all that.
Yeah.
The one thing where it almost seemed rushed was like just like the last 30 seconds or so. It seemed like he went like straight from one move to like the finisher. But I mean, maybe it was just the way I took it, because I don't know. It's just the way it came off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad or anything. It just seemed like, oh, okay, it's over now.
Yeah.
But I feel like they aren't done, and they're probably going to come back around later.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said before, during that match, like that power bomb to like the apron, or not apron, the ramp thing.
Yeah.
That was rough. Like,
Yeah.
like I saw it coming, you know, and I'm like, is this gonna happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then he like throws him out there. I'm like, oh. And then he's like,
Yeah, you know that wasn't the most pleasant of landings either.
No, and he was like kind of curled up, and I'm like, oh my god, they killed this man on TV.
AEW's getting sued.
Yeah, right. But yeah, overall it was good, and then the pacing was kind of led into like the next match in a way, because you go into like the SoCal, or the SCU versus Lucha Brothers, and that, because like they had the crowd hyped up from the previous match, and then riding into that one, I mean, this could have been an opener too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because I'm a big SCU fan, you know, like I don't know what it is about them. They just got like charisma, I guess. Because I see them, and it makes me want to watch them before they've even done anything.
Yeah, and you know, I remember you saying that in the previous show that we had done. I can see all the charisma that they've got, especially with a guy like Christopher Daniels. I feel like he's kind of like leading that group, who's always been very good with the mic and whatnot. And I do definitely get excited to, you know, watch those guys as well.
Yeah. So I'm sure, again, because they've been there since day one. So if they don't have they'll always have a big piece in it. I'm not saying they'll have multiple reigns or anything, because they don't really need it. But they're going to be one of the things that keeps the division going for sure, pulling the good matches out of everybody, because you obviously need that. But yeah, just watching them, it was kind of like when you see like people like Zack Ryder and I forget the guy he's with, Kurt Hawkins, you know, like, or when you see Dolph Ziggler and The Miz, some people just like work well together. So when you watch them, like, and they're making jokes, it's like nobody wrote this stuff out. They're just out there having a good time, and you're having a good time with them.
Yeah.
So they kind of have that sort of vibe to them, which is good. Yeah,
because when it starts feeling forced, that's that's when I'm just like, I don't want any more of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't feel forced. It feels
This is
natural.
all for everybody. But yeah, so they had the it wasn't like comedy relief, but they had the comedic moments in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they completely switched gears for like Kenny Omega versus Shima. And that was just like business again. Like no transition, just like, all right, playtime's over. Watch this amazing technical masterpiece before you. And that was a good one. It was.
Yeah.
I was because I'd heard people were talking about it, saying, oh, this is gonna be a good one, or some people had said it was or whatever. And just knowing their styles, I expected it to be a little different than what you would normally expect. And it was. I mean, it had those typical overly rough Kenny Omega knees here and there.
Yeah.
Man, like I feel like people are just taking that. Like they're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna have to take this knee.
We got to make it look good, so just give it to me.
So I gotta just hope that I don't get too hurt.
Yeah. As long as I don't get that concussion. Yeah. Like, and the thing that so that it was definitely a change of pacing from the Adam Page and Kip Sabian match, where that they did start packing in a lot more spots and moves and everything, and with those two guys, I would expect a match like that, and it was entertaining. The only thing I didn't like is eventually I started seeing the same move several times, and I don't know if they're because it's in pay-per-views you usually have the they'll go through like 3, 4 different, 5 different finishers to build up that animosity and the hype and everything, suspense. And if that's what they're going for, okay, I guess. But I just hope I don't see that during like weekly shows to where, all right, I don't want to see like 5 one-winged angels, and every Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is. But other than that, that's the only complaint I really had about that match.
Yeah, because generally, like Omega's pretty good about switching it up. I mean, there's often going to be the thing where like somebody hits their finisher like a few minutes into the match. Maybe it's like it ends up being like a 20-minute match, and they hit it somewhere around like the 7-minute mark. But then they kick out because like they're slow to cover or something, and then they go on from there. But yeah, I trust them.
Yeah.
And the thing is, even on on Omega's like match where you want to be critical of anything, like they're still really good. So you can't say a whole lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then let's see. Then it was the main event. Yeah, this was overall the show went fairly quickly because I didn't want to skip through things, and I was curious to see where mostly everything was going. And next thing you know, main event, Cody and Dustin versus the Young Bucks. And that was one where I was very curious to see how it was going to play out because, the Young Bucks are obviously like really good. And Cody and Dustin, the Brotherhood as they're called right now, I guess. I remember when Goldust came back and they did their tag team run in like WWE like a few years ago. And it like blew people's minds. They're like, wait, that's Goldust. Like, that's the same dude. Like, because he had slowed down a little bit. He left. He came back in like better shape. Was moving like it was like the mid-90s again.
Yeah.
And then this match, I mean, he's still an older dude. I think he's like 50 or something.
Definitely pushing it.
Right, but he's still out there. Like the speed may be one thing, but if that's not your big thing anyway, it's kind of okay. But the thing is, he's just really good at keeping the matches going. So all the little things that would happen here and there, like he goes and he attacks the guy that's in the ring, then he knocks the other guy down, like then he's like keeps attacking like the arm tags in Cody, like they do the switch up and all that stuff. they just kept the whole thing going like solid for however long that match was.
Yeah. It was a good, long, lengthy match. I think it ended up at well over half an hour easily, maybe pushing like that 45-minute mark or something.
Yeah.
I know they probably even went over, even based off of how things played out afterwards. They're getting pressed for time. But
something did.
Yeah, but I could have easily taken another 20, 30 minutes of that match. And
because like I said, like they obviously got short on time when like the after match speaking part came around. But just thinking about the whole rest of the show, nothing seemed like it was overly long to where I was like, man, when is this going to end?
Yeah.
It was just taking it's just that something took more time than it could have, obviously. But if I had to cut it out, I mean, maybe, the Brandy match comes to mind, but for what they needed to do, I feel like it was like the right amount of time, just enough to give her some time to show off her stuff and then bring in the new people to set up the other match. But I don't know. I don't know what they could have really shortened down to add time. I think it just is what it is. They probably should have just bought more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got the money to buy more time, so.
Yeah. Because I think the first pay-per-view kind of went like that too. Went right up to like they had say they had 3 hours. It ended at like 2 hours, 59 minutes, 59 seconds.
Yeah.
I think they got like the goodbye, good night thing in there.
Yeah.
But
I feel like they're doing good at managing that time that they've got too.
Oh yeah, it's because nothing felt too long, nothing felt too rushed. Solid.
Yeah.
But so that was the final match, and like I said, I did like how they, like the two brothers, they let like the little brothers start the match, and then it's like, all right, now we'll get in there and show you how this is done.
Yeah, and I thought like when they're still in each other's move sets and everything, just that chemistry of like, we know who you are, you know who we are, this is a good friendly competition, things like that was were taking place throughout the whole match.
Right.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good. I just wish they, like I said, if they had like 2 to 3 more minutes of airtime or something, just to because I wanted to hear what Matt Jackson was going to say to like Goldust and Cody about like the match, because it seemed like it was going somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, not like to another match, but just like it was going to be something worth hearing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so overall though, top to bottom, things were good from start to finish. Top match, top moment in your opinion?
SCU versus Lucha Brothers. I thought it was probably the best match that was presented that night. Pacing good. Even after the match, they set up a nice little story. And we're getting we got a preview of what's to come. With the ladder match they announced.
And that is true. And for me, as I said, while not exactly a match, Chris Jericho with microphone versus Jacksonville, that was very entertaining to me, for him to come out there and do his just monologue thing where he kind of drifted in and out of his overly angry, like kind of dark and brooding character, and pulled in some like the play to the crowd, like like the heel sort of thing, like.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was pretty good. And also like leading into it, because he had just attacked Adam Page and he's like talking about like look at this blood on my hands. It's like, man, you nasty. Yeah. But it was pretty good, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like that goes back to the whole mic thing that I said. Promos and everything. They don't do a lot, but when they do them, it's usually a good promo. But yeah, that being said, top spot, who would you have to give it to?
Yeah, so I'm going with like the power bomb to the ramp, because it was just, oh man, that's one of those things where just seeing it and like knowing how that had to feel. I mean, not that I mean, obviously we've all fallen before, but so it's like looking at that and just seeing like that sudden stop. It's just, I was like, man, it wasn't like a table that like kind of broke and then he like, fell on like a semi-padded floor. He just hit and stopped.
Yeah.
Like from a pretty good distance, you know, because like the dude had to throw him over the ropes to hit the ground.
Yeah, and I don't even think he was actually next to the ropes. Like he was close. It's not like he was like right on it and then over. He went a good distance.
Yeah, so I was like, What about you?
For me, top spot, I'll have to give it to my favorites, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
They did that flipping power bomb.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting that, but when they popped it out, and that's the thing, like when these things happen, and I don't expect them, kind of like he did his cannonball.
The cannonball. Or like the coffin drop thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So when things pop like that, they catch me off guard. They don't always have to be something high flying or whatever. It helps, but I mean it just looked devastating.
It did, and like just the way the guy that took it, pretty much from start to finish, he's just like flipping through the air because like one guy's like throwing him up, and the other guy's like catching him and throwing him back down. It's like it's orienting, honestly.
But I gotta go back and watch that again after this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so that was good and everything. And so of course then you have to go with like the botch of the night. So while not a big moment, like the crowd, like when the female referee, when Penta tossed her the glove, because like that's his thing that he does, and that's one of his signature things. Man, like, and she didn't catch it, and you would the boos. You would think Roman Reigns came out or something.
All right.
Not happy.
And like the camera didn't catch that at first,
right.
And I was wondering why people were booing. And then like I realized after they got a different camera angle, I realized what had happened, and the fact that they're like, all right, let's do that again.
Yeah, that I was like, man, like, but they did it, and then they went back into their little back and forth and rode that on out from there. And I know you said nothing really stood out to you too much though, as far as like any big botches.
Okay, so when I was feeling like, for those that can't see this, we actually have a list and we'll watch and we'll keep notes as we watch this. And unfortunately, I ended up missing the pre-show. I think it was the pre-show that I ended up missing and having to go back and watch. Yeah. So I put down that I didn't have a botch on there, and I forgot to update this later on. But going back, I would have to say that my botch was that moment when Bree ran to the other corner.
Yeah,
yeah, and
he ran like the wrong tag team partner. Like, full friend.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I didn't notice the little head butt into the turnbuckle. That I don't recall that, but if that was part of the reason why that happened, it just kind of adds to it,
Yeah.
Make a little bit
if you go back and rewatch it, because it's still in the Dropbox thing, so you can just re-download it from there.
Yeah.
But if you watch, it's early on in the match, because like she took the turnbuckle to like the neck, basically, like the top of the head, and then she tagged out, and she was out for like a while. So just scroll back from like that point, and you'll see it, because like the last thing she did before she was like messed up for the rest of it. And then she just laid around on the side for a while, and seemed like she was just kind of hurt a lot.
Yeah.
But
really, she must be running to the wrong corner.
Yeah. So that was unexpected. But like I said, all in all, it was a pretty solid show. No complaints out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to the next one. And that one, because I know this was like a small one. It wasn't really like a pay-per-view. It wasn't meant to have that same caliber.
Yeah.
It was just like, what do you call it? A charity event, for the gun victims thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this next one, though, where they're going all out. Well, yeah, they're going all out for Chicago. that one, that should be a good one.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
So we'll get back on this later. But yeah, so I'll have to watch this back to see how things look because the StreamYard thing, like, I mean, it seems like it's working out. So
yeah,
and talking
and
to
I'm watching our stream or our live feed, and then I got to go back and watch that actual video as it's going on over there. I paused it just to make sure everything was running smoothly.
Right. So we got the, like I said, just I don't like that it doesn't automatically switch unless I just don't know which one of these options that is.
Yeah,
Whatever that might.
New software, so it's definitely going to take some getting used to.
Yeah. But as for this, go ahead and get this wrapped up so I can run off to work and keep you guys safe and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, well thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Don't mention it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so again, appreciate you making the time to come and do this, between whatever it is you would be doing right now.
Probably not a whole lot.
And so for the next one, I think that will be it should be on a Saturday. So we might be able to do it like this same time, but for me, Monday morning, for you, like the Sunday night after after All Out. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Gotta make time.
We got time to plan out that. So
yeah. So all right, but again, appreciate you coming out. Appreciate anybody who stopped through, dropped a comment, or watched for any number of minutes. Because as McFly said, the grind, like the watch time. Go watch his videos. I'm gonna put links and all that stuff at the end. I'll have to go back later to put in the like the cards and all that. McFly KOF. Go watch his videos. He's like 100-something hours away from being monetized for this, and trust me, if you do any sort of content creation, like getting paid for it sounds pretty appealing, right? Like you're basically getting money to do the things you like, and all you have to do is go watch some videos.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
I'll probably head on over there right after this, anyways. Help the guy out.
Yeah. So please do that. He's been a good dude, helped me out here and there, like some tips and whatnot. So. I'm past like him not liking my Vapor Maxes, but we won't talk about that. It's okay. It doesn't keep me up at night.
It doesn't sound like it.
But no, seriously, go watch his videos.
Yeah.
You'll thank me later. All right, so that's it for this. Like I said, gonna wrap it up so I can get on with my day. It's like 8:30 here. Got to be in at 9. Still got enough time to make that happen. Yeah. So I'll see you guys soon. I think I got an unboxing coming in. Then the next couple days, I have to look at my tracking number again. So thank you, Derek. Anything to say?
More content from you, faster. I love it. So you always enjoy.
I'll see what I can do. All right, thanks everybody. I'll see you guys around.
That's it. Says we're still